good evening, and welcome to another edition of the New Black Leadership Coalition here live at CAN Television, Channel 21. That's the New Black Leadership here live at CAN Television in the great station, beautiful studio here at CAN Television. My name is Gregory Singh. I used to say it over a few other radio stations. Stake your claim with Gregory Singh. I am honored, I am blessed by the best to have this opportunity once again to come to you all via Facebook, YouTube, iHeart, CAN Television, etc. over these precious, precious airwaves. And I want to thank Almighty God, our Creator, for blessing each and every one of us with another day of life on this planet that we call Earth. I am very, very thankful also that I have been inspired once again from divine guidance from our brother, Brother Farrakhan, the Honorable Brother Minister Farrakhan, that he just spoke on Sunday, and it was so much he had to say. And one of the key things was, when with all of the trouble that we see on the horizon, and in terms of the condition of black people, and as a new black leader, and that's part of this coalition, we seek refuge in Almighty God. You might refer to him as Allah, Elohim, Jehovah, Yahweh, and I'm bringing that up because when we look at the troubles that plague this whole world, I mean, many, 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 many plagues, many, many troubles, and we all have to ask the question, are we actually grounded? Is our foundation strong enough? Can or will we survive with what we know, with the information that we are getting? Is it enough to survive? I want to, not quickly, but out of the gates, I want to, I'd be remiss if I did not mention, and I know we don't have enough time to have a moment of silence, but our brother, honorable brother, Dick Gregory, and he's referred to as Baba Dick Gregory, made his transition. And what a mighty, mighty brother. So many things that Dick Gregory was blessed to accomplish, and his legacy will live forever. So you never know what's inside of a person. Yeah, Dick was a great track runner, went to the military, started doing comedy. Then he was involved with health products. Dick was absolutely a true, authentic, by God's design, activist, organizer. So I definitely want to, I want to definitely say this about Dick Gregory. We got some guests gonna come in, but in a couple of minutes, you can bring them in about 2 or 3 minutes. I'm gonna go to our website, but I want to say this about Brother Dick Gregory. On a few occasions, we met. I'm gonna do that in a couple of minutes. Okay, I know. I'm gonna finish this point. So, Dick Gregory, I met him first at today's Black Women Expo. And at today's Black Women Expo, I introduced him as Mamie's boy. And he said that was one of the best introductions that he had, somebody have ever given him, because I referred to him growing up in St. Louis and just being a down-to-earth black man that cared. about the condition of black people. And I always ask that question. I'm like, what was in Dick? What was in Stokely Carmichael, Brother Kwame Ture? What was in Fred Hampton? What was in Mark Clark? What was in Nat Turner? What was in Marcus Garvey, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, Brother Malcolm X? What was in Harriet Tubman? Because they sacrificed their life. And so when you look at the world as it turns, are you willing to sacrifice your life like Dick Gregory? All the way to 85, Dick Gregory stayed on the case. And just one other thing I share about our brother, because he will always be honored and remembered as a true freedom fighter and dearly missed, but never ever forgotten. And I'm thankful that I had an opportunity, man, to be in the company of Dick Gregory several times. And I'll just put it like this. God placed an angel in our life. And Dick Gregory should be in books and schools and streets, and more so what he stood for. He was about love, and he was about true conviction, and he cared. I got some guests in a couple of minutes going to join me, and I'll introduce them once they walk through the door in the studio. The limo was late picking them up. And but I want to go to this website, and if you want to get in contact with us, this is how you can do it right here. That's us, the New Black Leadership Coalition. The New Black Leadership Coalition. And you can reach us via Facebook, and you can reach us on that website right there. That's the New Black Leadership Coalition. Now, I want to say this, you know, for now, that, you know, I'm going to go, one of the guests is here, and we have in the studio right here, the limo was late picking them up from the west side, the best side. Glad to see you again. Yesterday, Mark was on the show, him and Brother Samuel, who's going to join us too in a few minutes. We're going to talk with Mark for a few minutes, and then we're going to go to Samuel. And once again, you know, many of you all that's viewing this, some of you all are familiar with Mark out there in the audience. People on Facebook know Mark Carter. People out there in the street know Mark Carter. People in the joint know Mark Carter. Okay. People in high places know Mark Carter. Mark Carter is you a Republican?
A Republican.
Oh, Republican.
I'm with whichever one is needed for that time.
I used to call them the Democrats and the Republicans.
There you go.
But anyway,
they're all the same.
But I'll say this. There are some people with character that's part of all these parties. I mean, it's like, and I want to ask you some questions about this guy. I know that many people are backing this person versus that person. But if we never backed any politicians at all, and if it were just us here left, although policies and stuff that we fighting right now have been put in place because of politicians or legislations that can either help or hurt the community. One of the things that you've been working on that's called One Chicago, that's really an interesting concept, One Chicago, because we do know that Chicago, like many other cities, have become, and they've been really, two different places, two different realities, one for one group, one for the other group. You've been known as somebody who come to disrupt meetings, turn over tables, controversial, outspoken, etc. But when I hear you on other stations, you're talking about programs and things that could benefit poor people, the black community. And one of the big things that you're working on now is this whole thing about land grab.
Oh yes.
And is it rehabbing, refurbishing, selling, or giving people opportunities, or grabbing the land or grabbing these buildings before the venture capitalists continue to have everything?
Yes. And first, I want to thank you for having me today, and I guess I'll go right into it because I know we don't have a lot of time.
Right.
But it's very important that we pay attention to this massive land grab that's happening in the city of Chicago. Cranes did a story back in December 2013, and that took me full steam ahead of getting involved with this land grab and working, at ways that we can stop what's going on. And that story basically read on the front page that this city would be less than 1% of black people by 2030, based on the land grab that's going on. They talked about how they would move us out to DuPage County, Will County, all of those counties where the white population is. They're going to move to Chicago and push us out to those counties, pretty much like they've done with the people that lived in the projects, as they call them. They pushed them out of Chicago Heights, and they pushed them out out in the south suburbs, and now they're looking to push the homeowners, the ex-school teachers who lost their jobs and lost their homes. They're going to push them out, either out in DuPage County, Will County, and those counties, or either back down south where they were originally from. And they make no qualms about it. I mean, they're very open with what they're doing.
So what is it, the rent, or is it the taxes? Or
well, what they've done.
How do you get to that point where you pushed out?
Well, what they've done is come up with a system, one where you have the banks who are foreclosing on the homes, but then a new system that they put in place in around 2003, and they knew that the crash was getting ready to happen. They knew this way back in 2003 when they set up what they called the Troubled Building Initiative. They set this system up, and it's basically where they use the violation courts to take mom and grandmama's house. And so after the crash happened, they began really amping it up and implementing the Trouble Building Initiative, which is where the building inspector goes out, write the violations up on the homes. They know the violations were there. The violations have been there basically for 50, 60 years because our community was redlined. So what redlining means was basically the people couldn't get home loans. So if you couldn't get a home loan to buy the property, then how are you going to get a loan to upkeep the property? So they allowed these properties to deteriorate for the last 40, 50, 60 years. Then in 2003 came up with a program called the Trouble Building Initiative to enforce these violations through the building courts, which is a set of courts that they've set up specifically to take over entire neighborhoods.
Name one of the neighborhoods that they really have concentrated
on. Bronzeville, they practically taken all of Bronzeville using the Trouble Building Initiative. South Shore is the neighborhood that they're doing now as we speak. When you look south, you can say everything east of the Dan Ryan from McCormick to Roseland. They're using all of the city's task force members, whether it be the housing department, buildings, law, the police department, streets and sanitation. All of them are coming as a task force to move on the homeowners. I can guarantee you that most of the people you see with their homes boarded up, if you go to the building courts, their homes are in the building courts. Buildings that you see freshly rehabbed, they were in the building court before. I want the listening audience to go by 4217 South King Drive. 4217 South King Drive.
4217.
This building was on the market for $699,000. The guy down in building court got that building for $5,500. $5,500, and turned around and sold it for almost $700,000.
So was he plugged?
Without a doubt. I mean, this is a connected game when it comes to this real estate. And so in 2013, I began to look at what was going on, and me understanding what happened in Detroit, I said to myself, well, this is about to really happen in Chicago, you know. And what I mean by what happened in Detroit, you know, is where they used the city's resources, the building inspectors, the water department, the tax department, and all that to go after homeowners. And so now they're doing it in Chicago, where you have almost 150,000 properties in foreclosure and pre-foreclosure. So basically, most of our people are living in foreclosed homes, and so when they get ready to come for that area, the people don't have more. They don't have leases on those apartments that they live in. So when they tell them to leave and get them into court, they don't have a lease.
Let me tell the callers that they would like to speak to Mark, and we do have a caller already, but those who are just tuning in, you're listening to the New Black Leadership Coalition here on CAN Television. The number is 312-738-1060. That's 312-738-1060. We got a caller on the line. Good evening, caller. How you doing?
Good evening, gentlemen. I'm so happy that y'all talking about this subject because the University of Chicago, them preachers that's on the South Side, all want to push these people out from over here so they can build that museum for Obama and they can build that golf course for Tiger Woods when a lot of us don't have money to go to museums. We have barely any grocery stores in the neighborhood. Land values is going up, and they're going to get your houses for violations so they can build this library, build that golf course, with none of us going to be playing. So it is very good that y'all are having this discussion tonight to inform Chicagoans of what's going on.
Yes, ma'am. And it's good that you are aware. It's great always hearing that, you know, there are folks that are not asleep on this type of, it's really gangsterness.
Oh yeah, they
You
definitely
know,
gangster.
thank you, ma'am. But now, I have to say, I mean, I'm just shocked that Tiger Woods, they're going to have any kind of golf course at all. Tiger Woods, because I thought they was finished with Tiger.
No, he's still a money making machine.
Oh, I
So-
didn't know Tiger would. Well, you're right, Mark.
But it's
I
kind
thought
of like
Tiger-
with R. Kelly. I mean, R. Kelly is a money making machine for them. So to see him locked up by what they view as a little nobody girl, because that was the talk amongst Hollywood in the music industry. To watch him be locked up. So I don't agree. I don't agree with what he did. I'm just saying to you how the system looks at a Tiger Woods. He's a money making machine for them. But to get back to this land grab, and everybody needs to call in. Everybody needs to go and do their research on the Trouble Building Initiative.
Where do you go?
You just Google Trouble Building Initiative. City of Chicago's Trouble Building Initiative, TBI program.
So anybody after they Google that,
It's going to give you a wealth of information and knowledge. You're going to find out groups like Neighborhood Housing Services, NHS is what they call it, CIC, Community Investment Corporation. These organizations are ran by people who once worked for the city. So it's really a quasi-governmental housing organization who's running and using your federal funds to take your homes. So the money that was given to the city of Chicago to help you keep your home up and help you fix your home up, they're using it to take your home and then fix it up and sell it to new people who are coming into the city.
we got another call on Mark and Sam. They told their family and friends that they was gonna be on TV, and we ain't had this many calls in a minute. Let's go ahead. Let's take this other caller. Hello, caller. Good evening. How you doing?
Fine, thank you. You know, the realtors, people that are buying all this stuff, they have some blame. But all the rest of the blame has to go on the so-called black leaders for not saying nothing. The alderman was Preckwinkle. They could have put a law in, you know, they could have put a law saying you can't do this. But nope, none of them say nothing when there's something to be done.
Yes,
So
sir.
there's enough blame to go around. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, before we bring on Samuel, is there a place where people can come where you have meetings regarding this? People that want to be further educated, where can they reach you?
Well, I'm direct. I mean, you can call me at my cell phone number, 1312-905-3962. That's 1312-905-3962. And you know, and if they want to set up some meetings in their communities, I don't want this to be just one place, because people are losing their homes all over the city. And let me say this very important, what they're doing. The banks are in partnership with the housing organizations that you go to save your home. So with the Trouble Building Initiative, let me show you how it works. You go to NHS, for example, because you need windows or a back porch or a roof. You go to NHS because they pulled you in building court, or you in administrative hearing up on Cedric, one of those, the administrative courts. You go to NHS for help to bring your building up to code. They tell you, well, we'll give you the free program, but you have to sign on to letting us do an interior inspection of your property.
So that means you gotta. So if you get this,
if you get the free program,
right? But I'm saying, if you buy, don't you also take on those violations too?
No. I'm saying how the building gets in.
Oh, I'm just saying, if you lose it and that building have a lot of violations against it, if you get that building, you still are responsible for those violations.
Well, what happens is once they take the property from you as the homeowner, they're not going to be hard on me as the receiver or the person who's receiving the property.
So they wipe the
They
violation.
wipe it, because once I pull the permits and everything, that basically wipes the violations. So the thing was to take the property from you. This is all about taking it from you. Once it get in my hands as a receiver or as someone who's receiving the property,
okay,
they work with me to bring the building up to code. They want you out of the property, because once they take you out of the property and take the property from you, then the bank releases the mortgage. The mortgage you've been struggling to pay, they just wipe it out. And if you go to the Department of, if you go to the, what they call it,
okay,
Record of Deeds, you'll see it.
Okay, we got a couple of more minutes.
Okay.
Let me just say this. I want to thank you for coming on. We're gonna bring on Sam for a minute. Okay, we don't have enough time. The producer said that we needed a whole hour so we can get you in. You got to tell your limos, man, your limo driver, man, hey, that pick you up on time. So, so Mark, you saying that the violations are wiped away
once if you are the homeowner, you've been owning that property for 50 years. The property don't even have to have a mortgage on it. But if it shall so have a mortgage on it, once the courts and the bank and the building inspectors and all these people who form this task force squeeze you out of the property, the bank releases the mortgage. Then say, for instance, if I come in and I want that property, being a receiver in the courts, I can step up to the courts, let them know I'm willing to take over the property. They then, under what they call a judicial deed, will wipe all of liens and encumbrances off this property to put it in my hand. But also, the bigger part of it, if you had a $200,000 or $300,000 mortgage on this property, the bank would then wipe the mortgage, just release it. Go to the Record of Deeds. You can pull up any property to see whether the bank has released the mortgage.
What was the status of the place over there at 1111 Independence? What?
It was about to be demolished. The condo owners, it was a 3-unit condo building. All three of the condo owners walked away. Once they walked away from the building, then the building was about to be demolished.
So why did they walk away? What was going on that they
well,
needed
the
to
same
walk
thing
away?
when the crash happened. You know, these balloon payments or whatever.
Yeah, a bunch of that.
Right. So what could have happened was, if they were going to release the mortgage, then they could have kept these properties either in the family or let the people who had these mortgages, just have the property. Now, this is what they're doing now. They're releasing the mortgage once the bank releases the mortgage, they get a tax write-off. And once they get the tax write-off, now they're calling the owners and just giving them the deed.
Did you go to school for this? Or
no, I
just
went down into the courts
but I mean,
and taught myself.
But where? you self-taught with it because you've mentioned some concepts and some terminologies that I'm not aware of in terms of the process of how this go, the downside and then the upside. And so the upside is your mission in terms of saving
Getting the
black
land
community,
back
giving
into
it
the
in
hands
of the people.
of even if it has to be what I view as the next of kin of whoever lost that property. I can show them how to get their property
You
right
making
back.
a lot of money, man.
Well, I make some money, you know, but you know, this is about you know, it's business as well as helping the community. But one thing that I do is that I would never go after a property that I haven't gone to somebody in that family to try to see if they want to get it back. But most people are just so drained, emotionally drained, with these properties to the point to where they moved out of town or just given up, don't want anything to do with the property. I mean, I've literally had people just come to court and just say to the judge, I don't care what y'all do with the property, I don't want it. You know, I'm not coming back to court for the property. And those are the properties that we pretty much target.
Give us some closing statements. I know we got to get out of here in a couple of minutes. So I know you gave out your sale. And is there this is a movement, but how can people, what website, you say they can Google it, but what could they just go right now and pull it up just see the list of these properties?
You can go to the City of Chicago's website, you know, go to the City of Chicago's website and pick up. You just punch in vacant properties, and they show you the list of properties.
And they are under
every single ward.
And they under the categories that you mentioned.
Every ward.
And they're called what again?
The Troubled Building Initiative.
The Troubled Building Initiative.
But when you go to the City of Chicago's homepage, just Google, just go up in the top right-hand corner and put in vacant properties.
Give your number out again.
My number is 1312-905-3962. That's 1312-905-3962.
Let me tell you something, folks. It's never enough time. You've been listening to the New Black Leadership Coalition here live at Can Television. Don't forget, on Monday nights, we're at Intellectual Radio every Monday night, 7 o'clock. Thank you, Brother Mark, for coming in. Thank you, Brother Sam.
Yes, sir.
And thank you, Can Television producer, for always putting this pressure on us to end the show. Even though we wanted to stay on longer. Peace and love. And don't forget, if you love Dick Gregory was about loving the people. So no matter what your title, how much money you make, you got to be humble and so show some love to our people and our community. Peace.